Welcome to the October 21st, 2024 council meeting. Members of the public were provided with the following methods to watch and or participate in this open meeting. Attend in person at the North Dumfries Community Complex. You can attend electronically via Zoom to observe the meeting or to speak to an item on the agenda. You can also watch the live stream by accessing the meeting on the Township's YouTube page. And also submitted written comments to the Clerk's Division were provided to council members and will form part of the public record. I'd now like to call the meeting to order. With approval of the agenda, please.
Moved by myself, second by Council Osmer, that council adopted the October 21st, 2024 council meeting agenda as presented.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. I would now like to do the Indigenous acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Neutral people. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. And I think we realize the horrors that have happened to the Indigenous people in this country and how they are trying to regain the respect they so deserve. And so I think we can contemplate on that, our duty to walk side by side with the Indigenous people to make this a stronger country. So let us reflect for a few moments. Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none, can I have adoption of the council minutes, please? Ms. Council Williams.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Rowland, that council approve the following meeting minutes. Council meeting minutes dated October 7, 2024.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. There is one delegation, Donna Gravel, physician recruitment with Doctors for Cambridge regarding physicians recruitment in Cambridge and North Dumfries and municipal funding support. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Foxton, council members, staff. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss physician recruitment. So a little bit of background. The Cambridge North Dumfries Physician Recruitment Task Force was established in 1999 with various organizations due to the dire need for physicians, especially family physicians. It's now involved to the physician recruitment program. The need for a dedicated recruitment program has increased over the years due to challenges, needs, and ways of recruiting that continue to escalate. So our current challenges, as you probably are all aware, there's a crisis in family medicine in Ontario and Canada for that matter. Fewer are entering into family medicine, especially for many reasons, including workloads, higher needs of patients, consultation, physician retirement, and leading the professions at the highest it has ever been. We currently have 3 that are leading right now, both positions in English. Fewer physicians now want to build a roster from scratch. More want to locum, or do short-term work, or add out-of-clinic work to their schedule, such as hospitalists that work in the ED, which of course cuts down on seeing patients in the office. More physicians left during the pandemic that have not all been replaced. More competition. Communities who've never had recruitment programs are now implementing them, such as London, Guelph, and hiring recruiters. As well, the communities are now offering incentives to physicians, such as moving expenses, financial bonuses up to $150,000. And this includes cities in Southwest Ontario. These will only be the northern cities that would offer bonuses before. Doctors for Cambridge budget has not increased in many years, and there is now a need to recruit differently and reach more potential candidates. We need to replace the Canadians studying in other countries and make sure they return to practice here. The challenge is reaching them. With SOPRA, which is an organization of Southern Ontario Physician Recruiter Alliance, formed about 1.5 years ago, and they traveled to the various recruitment events in UK, US, and Ireland. In fact, they were there last week, and I think they saw 300 Irish students, medical students on Saturday, and 60% of them going to school where they're Canadian. So we have to get them back here. Yeah, they did about 10 recruitment events this past year. As our budget has not increased in many years, we are not able to participate in the program at this time. So our community is currently considered short 12 to 15 primary care practitioners based on our population. So some of the recruitment efforts that we do is we outreach to medical schools and residency programs. local recruitment fairs, personalized community and medical facility tours. We participate in Romp Week each year, and that's where we host 10-person second-year medical students from medical schools farther afield than like McMaster, to showcase our cities, area, the hospital, the follow family physicians, and it's really fun. We get to see the sites as well in the area. Actually, a student from 2017, she's now in OB, and she's just signed on to Cambridge Memorial Hospital. She'll be starting next year, so certainly it's a successful program for us. We also have a very close relationship with Cambridge Memorial Hospital and offer community tours for their physicians who are considering going there. So the need for physician recruitment, our population is expected to dramatically increase in the coming years. With many housing initiatives planned, our current medical situation is not meeting the needs of our population. Unless it dramatically increases, we will not be able to sustain a growing population. Having access to adequate healthcare is critical to the success of newcomers integrating into our community, and also very important to encourage businesses to relocate to our area. Retention is also very important, which we're finding out more and more of. We try to accomplish this with appreciation events, finding locums where physicians need time off, and keeping in close contact with our physicians, clinics, and hospital. Be aware of their needs and concerns. The next slide just shows examples of some of the community funding that comes from some of the other communities in Ontario. So North Dumfries is very much a part of our recruitment and retention efforts. We place medical students at Lang's North Dumfries CHC. We assist the clinic when they need to increase or replace physicians, and assist in finding locums when needed. Lang's is also a very important partner to our program, and we work very closely with them. We are respectfully requesting a contribution of $7,500 from the Township of North Dumfries to help continue our efforts to bring physicians to our community. Thank you for your time, and please answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Donnie. Any questions, Councilor? Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is this specific to Cambridge and North Dumfries? Was there also related events in Kitchener and Waterloo and in other areas of Florida region or in Brantford where they also have recruitment areas? Because I know there's probably a lot of us that have doctors in various locations.
Yes, they each have their own recruitment programs and recruiters, one in Brantford and there's one in KW as well.
Any more questions? I have one. We delegated on this at the provincial level. Several years ago, it was when Natasha Sutherland became the mayor of Wilmot. And she is from Oxford, and she said there is numerous medical students that came over that are Canadian there, seeking to come back here and become medical doctors. And there is some glitch in the provincial system preventing it. And so maybe you can work on that end and get us to advocate for you on that behalf at Ortemo and Roma.
Yeah, it's improving a little bit. So what happens, one of the problems is when they finish medical school, they have to match a residency program. So if they're over there to increase their chances, they apply residency programs in the States, in Ireland, England, and Canada, hoping to come back to Canada. The unfortunate thing is the CARMS match day, where they all find out where they're matched to, which programs, comes after the US one. So if they're grabbed by a US school, they're going to take the chance to take the opportunity. They changed it this year so that the CARMS day for Canada is going to be happening before the US one. So that should help us a little bit. Another problem that we have in our area is we're not allowed to place master students or non-master medical students in Cambridge. This is the hospital. They have a protective shield around Cambridge. So for them to apply for CARMS, they also have to do some rotations in the city. So if they haven't done rotations in Ontario, they can't apply for the CARMS match. So there's all sorts of little things like that that need to be changed. They're so simple to change. Definitely.
But I think if you work with some of the neighbors advocating on your behalf, that maybe we can help for these changes to progress.
Definitely.
Because I know that there's quite a number of Canadians that have passed their education that want to come back in.
Oh, definitely. We have 10 doctors at CMH that have kids over in school right now in Ireland specifically. Like I said, there's 60% of the students there are from Canada.
Yes, so
And they have to increase residency spots available.
and another thing that's working is the new hospital going to be a hindrance to us in Waterloo because we're not going to be competing with the same.
It could, but That's years and years off, and the population is probably gonna need it by then anyway, so.
True, very true.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion, please, Councillor Lawson?
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Chile, that the delegation from Donna Gravel, physician recruiter with Doctors for Cambridge regarding physician recruitment in Cambridge and North Dumfries and municipal funding support be received with thanks, and that the request for funding in the amount of $7,500 be referred to the 2025 budget discussions.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you, Donna.
Thank you very much for your time, I appreciate it, have a good evening.
I sat on the recruitment, when we had a huge shortage with Donna years ago. The next items are the consent agenda. The one is, information regarding the air tornado, and the second one is the proposal of zoning bylaw amendment. So. Oh, and then next is the communication, of course. So anything, anyone wish to roll call anything? Oh, wait a minute here. Anyone wish to lift anything from the consent agenda? Council Wilson.
I'd like to lift 10.1.2, the Edward E. West proposal, please.
Anyone else? Seeing none, hang on now. Yeah, anyone in the public wish to speak on these issues? Seeing none. So let's get to this, any staff report on today's items, agendas? No. All right, so now, how do we want to just strike the Edward pit? We want to discuss it first, and then if it's okay, pass it?
Madam Mayor, just that one will be scratched from the motion relative to consent, and then I'll go ahead and allow it.
Okay, thank you. So, we can have a motion with striking 10.1.2, please, Councilor Rowan.
Move myself by Council Williams that the following reports as listed on the October 21st, 2024 consent agenda be received and recommendations contained therein be approved and acted upon. 10.1.1. And report number 20-2024, information update regarding the tornado. And the following information items as listed on the October 21st, 2024 consent agenda be received. 10.2.1 communications. A, correspondence received from the Ministry of Rural Affairs regarding delegation of WEMO. B, correspondence received from the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks regarding an application for a new multimedia ECA waste disposal site for noise and sewage. C, correspondence received from the Ministry of Sport regarding delegation at the conference. 10.2.2 advisory committees. A, paired advisory committee minutes dated September 17, 2024. B, Leisure Lifestyle Advisory Committee minutes dated October 2nd, 2024. And C, Ward 3 Town Hall meeting minutes dated October 3rd, 2024. And 10.2.3 external public agencies. Those managing video commentary, Chatham County versus CPR.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Councilor Mills, 10.1.2, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a few questions for clarification. In the report, we talk about the planning staff will continue to bring forward, go forward with the CHIA, and then bring a final recommendation amendment forward to council. Even though this pit now is before the OLT, and I don't recall that happening for the other applications. So I was just, my initial question is just, what is the intention of continuing forward with this? And bringing a final report before council, since I think now that it's before the OLT, I'm not sure what. Yeah, I was just wondering what the thought process is there. Thank you.
CEO McNeely.
So, Madam Mayor, through Councillor Williams, we were much farther along on the consideration of the Edward E. West pit in terms of technical reviews and the outcomes and recommendations related to that, as it would inform the draft zoning bylaw amendment, as well as potential conditions we may seek, or the municipality may seek, as it relates to the Ministry of Natural Resources for conditions to be imposed on the license. So this report would be presented to council. And it would be submitted to the Ontario Land Tribunal. It may form the issues list that would be discussed at a future case management conference. But you are correct, the decision is no longer vested with Township Council. It now resides with the Ontario Land Tribunal. It does not mean that discussions cannot continue, but the OLT will have to make a decision on the merits of any information put in front of it.
So when this report comes back before us, this is not something that we would be voting on? Or like, what is the process for this final report? Like, do we just receive it for information purposes? Because this matter has been, it's now out of our hands. I'm just wondering what are we to do with this? Thank you.
So if I may, see, only before I ask you, is there's two parallel processes. One is what the criteria we have to follow under our planning act and our official plan. And the other is the criteria for the OLT. This is the one where we have to do a heritage, because we have now a heritage committee. In the past, we had a few pits that have gone on before this. The heritage committee was not active, and therefore we didn't have to follow it. Because it exists in our documents, that is the normal process, that if there's a heritage committee, it has to go that route. We must, by our documents, our legal documents, do so. If there still wasn't a heritage committee, this wouldn't be happening. But because there is a heritage committee, we have to follow that process. And our words to the OLT is we are following what is basic laws of Aboriginal. Councilor.
Yeah, my concern wasn't about the Heritage Advisory Committee. My concern was, what are we going to be doing with this final report and staff recommendation? Since it's, as far as I know, even if whatever we state, it would not be, it's the OLT that will now make the final decision on with regards to the zoning as it currently stands.
You're absolutely correct, but we have to do our due diligence. We have to follow the procedures of our laws, which state we have to go through this process. The report will be brought to us and we will receive it for information. And if they recommend, we will look at the recommendations that they send to us. And then the tribunal will go on as it's going to go on. But we will have done what we are, and that is our defense at the tribunal, is we are following our regulations. Those are the written laws. And for us not to do, we break it. So regardless of what the OLT, we do not run based on what the OLT. We run based upon the procedures and our official plan and things that exist for North Dumfries Township. Councilor Williams.
Pardon me. So why didn't we do that for the other applications? Like they weren't, like from what I'm hearing, they weren't as far along, but we could have continued with them and followed our laws and bylaws.
Because in the other applications, we did not have an advisory committee. That's the only difference.
I'm talking about the final report, not the advisory committee.
CO McNeely.
So, Madam Mayor, through the Councilor Williams, we are following the same process. We came before Brother Kachuk. We came before council with a framework of changes to the bylaw that have been submitted by the proponent, as well as suggested conditions that we're going to seek of the minister to put on the operating license that the province would frame as part of the aggregate operating license. All we're saying is we're a little bit further ahead. So where before we actually had the initial case management conference hearings, and we brought things back to council shortly after that. In this case, we do have more information. We may be able to actually bring certain things before township council at an earlier date, perhaps prior to the first CMC. If that milestone is actually achieved, that may then frame the issues list, which narrows the scope of matters that would form part of a future OLT hearing, or could potentially lead to the framework of the minutes of setting it. So it's really no different. It's just this timing, and we're farther ahead in terms of documents, the technical review, and I'll call it the implications arising from that peer review work that has occurred. With dance, the hearing on dance isn't scheduled until August of 2025. There may be between now and then reports to Township Council seeking direction on one or more aspects that could lead to further documents put in front of the OLT to inform potential decisions that the OLT may render on either the licensing aspect and or the zoning. Process isn't any different. We will need, at some point in the process, direction, decisions from Township Council, because ultimately you are defending your official plan and zoning bylaw in front of the OLT. Because we are the, under normal circumstances prior to an appeal, you are the approval authority for zoning bylaw amendments. Minister is the decision maker on aggregate licenses and the conditions that are imposed on those licenses. You are a commenting agency to the minister on the conditions for an operating license. In the absence of not bringing anything in front of Township Council, the local voice is not factored into any future OLT decision. So it's incumbent upon legal counsel and staff to make sure that Township Council has their fingerprints on whatever goes before the OLT from the municipality's perspective.
Thank you. That was well done.
So, can I have a motion for, was 10.1.2, was it? Yes, 10.1.2.
Moved by myself by Council Wilms, that PD report 47-2024 be received for the purposes of.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is report 11.2.1. Is there any questions on this? Something I've been asking for years, so can I have the motion, please, Councillor Austin?
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Tilly, that report number PW 19-2024, Boyd Avenue stop sign removal be received. And that bylaw number 3515-24, being a bylaw to further amend bylaw number 2559-13, traffic and parking bylaw, to remove the stop control on Boyd Avenue at Reedsville Road be enacted. And that staff, upon the execution of this bylaw, are to undertake the necessary steps to post the appropriate signage and public awareness campaign.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is report number 11.2.2, REC 23-2024 Ontario Trinity Foundation Grow Grant. Any questions or comments before we read this? Councillor Williams, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rowland, that report number REC 23-2024 Ontario Trillium Foundation Grow Grant be received. And that council authorize staff to submit an application to the Ontario Trillium Foundation Grow Grant for funding to support youth programming in partnership with Langs for a 3-year period from 2025 to 2027 as follows. 2025, 15,000 capital and 35,000 operating. 2026, 5,000 capital and 45,000 operating, and 2027, 5,000 capital and 45,000 operating.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Report number 11.2.3, report number REC 25-2024 CP Rail Holiday Trend Event. Any questions or comments before we do this? Councillor Tilly.
Just in regards, and it's not, again, this is I don't come, I've come once or twice, and I think I asked this last year. When the mobile food vendors come, do we have an issue getting the vendors there? Are there a fair bit of contest for that, or is there is it like pulling teeth to get them to come to the event?
Theo
Madam
O'Neill.
Madam Mayor, through Councillor Tilly. Past 2 or 3 years, we have to consistently ask for vendors to attend.
My only concern with this one is that it's on a Sunday and we may see a huge amount of more traffic than on a weeknight. So, just a heads up to everybody about that. Any kind of comments? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please, Councillor Roman?
Moved by myself and by Council Williams, that report number 25-2024, CPKC Rail Holiday Train event be received. And that bylaw number 3514-24 being a bylaw to establish a temporary road closure for a portion of English Street and temporary no parking restrictions for Wilson, Calhoun, Elliott, Thompson, Cooper, and Mule Streets. Facilitate the CPKC rail holiday train event scheduled for Sunday, November 24th, 2024 be enacted. And that in accordance with bylaw number 3305-22, mobile food vendors, schedules B and C, and that the CPKC rail holiday train scheduled for November 24th, 2024 be adopted as a special event. And further, that food truck operations be permitted, be located within the temporary road closure area of English Street Road allowance at locations to be determined by township staff. And that council waive the daily mobile food truck permit fee of $75 per truck for 3 mobile food trucks for the CP Rail Holiday Train event on Sunday, November 24th, 2024, between the hours of 3 to 7 p.m.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. Next up, we have the rec report on the outdoor Remembrance Day. Any questions or comments? Councilor Roman, please.
Moved by myself and Councilor Williams, that report number rec 26-2024, outdoor Remembrance Day service be received. And that bylaw number 3513-24 being a bylaw to establish temporary road closure for a portion of Piper Street, Church Street, and Stanley Street. Facilitate the annual outdoor Remembrance Day service scheduled for Sunday, November 3rd, 2024 be enacted.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. This is the off-street parking agreement. Councilor, any questions first? Councilor Austin, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Tilly, that PD report number 46-2024 be received. And that the mayor could be authorized to execute an off-street parking agreement between the township and 100005073 Ontario Inc. for the properties located at 33 Northumberland Street and 35 Northumberland Street, subject to any minor revisions as may be required by the chief administrative officer and or the township legal counsel.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. Next, we have any items for correspondence. There's none. Next is mayor safety concerns for request free program for self-defense class. So I'm gonna ask Councilor Williams, or I have a problem, if we do a free for one, do we do a free for all? And I know we've been doing some food courses here and everything else. The motion, Councilor Williams, please. And there's several options. I'm sure she will choose one that she feels you should vote on. Go ahead.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Roman, that the information regarding a safety concerns and request for food program for self-defense class be received. And that staff be requested to provide a report on issues raised, including street lighting and free community programming.
That was number one, right? First one? Number two? Okay. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. We have a recommendation of the Israel Lifestyle Advisory Committee. Any questions on this? Council Williams.
Madam Mayor, it's just a general question of clarification. Is this petition requesting that we look into just settlement areas where there's already sidewalks and bike lanes, and want to make sure their crossings are in the proper, there's proper safety measures around the crossing areas? Or are we asking for, like, I wasn't quite so sure what was all in scope with this request. Thank you.
Council Austin, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So basically, when we talked about this at our advisory committee meeting, our concern as a group was mainly pedestrian traffic on the regional roads and on all roads, but the regional roads are the most frequently traveled and higher speeds and the most volume. So it speaks to bike lanes and it speaks to pedestrian crossings, visibility, etc. So what we're asking is council support to maybe ask the region to look at ways to improve it. Like if you look at, I'm going to use Belmont Avenue, for example, in Kitchener, the bike lanes are painted green. Right now, we have cars driving on the bike lane. We have vehicles parked on the bike lanes. People don't know it's bike lanes. So we're asking for things similar to that, where we have more visibility, more awareness, and better protection for foot traffic and two-wheel traffic, for example. We even talked about something above and beyond that, which is may or may not come to council in the near future. We also talked about, for example, I took a picture today of the bike lanes in Kitchener down West Schlegel Park. They're off the road, and it looks like the province is now getting involved in bike lanes, and they're I think gonna attempt to tell us what to do with the bike lanes. But I think moving forward, it might be a good idea for us to try and include that with every development, every road, every sidewalk, extend the sidewalks, put the bike traffic on the sidewalks with the pedestrians in a separate lane. It's way too dangerous. There's been way too many people being hit, almost hit. Several people on our committee are avid bikers, and they talk about it constantly. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. And simply putting a bike lane, just a white line painted on Trustler Road, for example, that's not going to cut it. That's no awareness. That's nothing.
Council Williams.
I agree with you. I was driving on Highway 24 today, and there was somebody biking on that road, which scared the dickens out of me. Because the thing is too, is that there are like some of the my concern was there are some regional roads where people should not be biking or walking. Like 97 is a good example where you just like there's so much truck traffic and there's much speed, like you just don't want people around there. But if there is already bikes and we're not providing proper safety crossings and stuff like that, then yes, we do need to ask the region to stand up for that. Yeah.
So if I may for a minute, I have requested to the region several times that they create a separate. So I do not want them mixed with the sidewalk. I want a separate lane for bikes on the other side of the sidewalk. The region does not want to invest the money into it. They want to put those little marking bullet stand things along the road to, which makes it look terrible, but anyways. So we haven't come up with a solution yet. And one more thing is, I believe Belmont, that's done by the city of Kitchener. So it's not done by the region?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Council.
But unfortunately, you just mentioned the region would rather put those, that's not safety. And that's not considering our rural farmer tractors and grain hauling and combines, et cetera. I mean, those are gonna get wiped out. On Belmont and Kitchener in the cities, it's a different story. You can't think the same way in the city as you think in the country. The number one thing on this is for the safety, like when you're, particularly when you're coming into, I'm just gonna use coming into air as an example, because I know it so well. There's people coming around that corner. I had one guy tailgate me and follow me and yell at me at home because he said I pulled out in front of him. He was coming so fast that he was on me in no time. And I said to him, I said, you need to slow down. There are children coming home from school. And at this speed, you're gonna kill somebody. So, I mean, and it happens all the time. We see it everywhere. We've had emails about, Scott Street, Swan Street. I see it. I have a friend that lives on Swan Street. We're sitting in front of his house. It sounds like a racetrack up there. It's ridiculous. So it's a problem, I'm sure, in every single one of our wards. And one of the things on top of enforcing this and maybe, being very active with the region to get on it and get it done, is getting something like this where we get the region to look at ways to make it a little safer for pedestrians, people walking their kids, people walking their dogs, people riding bikes, foot traffic, and two-wheel traffic.
Council Tim.
Last year, we received an email from one of the residents of Clyde with the exact same concerns on, when you're heading down Old Beverly or any of those areas up there, there's literally road and there's the gravel. 100% agreement, and if we could get some support from the region, I think it would be the best thing to ask for. Whether or not anything's happened in the past, maybe something can be done. Is there a recommendation from, I guess we ask the staff to come back with the recommendation, how do we process that, or we just ask?
Well, there's a motion here, so we'll discuss that. But my only thing is, I think the first thing the region's gonna say is, well, we're gonna do the cameras. Right, automatic speed enforcement. And they believe that, I think they believe that that's the be all and end all, but I don't disagree with it. I'm not sure the wording sits right. That's why we sort of, can we think of better wording for this? Like that the committee recommend that the township council petition the region council to improve public safety using active transportation on regional roads and settlement areas via crossing and other similar safety. So via crossing and other similar safety measures. Can we drop off via crossing to say safety measures, including traffic calming items? Would that be better? Council Austin first and then Council Taylor.
That's not the recommendation from the advisory committee. I mean, I think,
So you want wording like this?
yeah.
Yes, Council Taylor, would you have a comment?
The only thing that may be included in that, just not something I'm picking up, is where it's mentioning to do with the pedestrian and bike traffic in there. That was the only thing I was gonna add to that, but I think if it's included and I'm just not picking it up, then that's fine.
Yeah, but this is their wording, so. It's the only thing.
So maybe I can assist council. Active transportation is a common terminology that contemplates walking, cycling, blading as a means of moving, as an alternative to relying on the motor vehicle. It is a key tenet in the regional official plan to promote active transportation for two reasons. One is called healthy lifestyle. But the other is to reduce the reliance on motor vehicle traffic, especially for short distance travel. And that's why the committee, I believe, is trying to focus on our settlement areas. And they're looking at, obviously, having the appropriate infrastructure in place that promotes safe active transportation. And that can be achieved through, proper infrastructure, appropriately designed crossings, and modulating, between that, reducing the speed of traffic through those settlement areas. So it's a combination of that holistic approach, but it largely comes out of the regional official plan and the promotion of 15-minute neighborhoods and elevating active transportation, relying on a motor vehicle for your means of getting around.
Do we not have, Councilor Roman, go ahead.
For a minute, I just wanted to comment on the traffic calming part too, because I know we talked before about, how when you go into Plattsville or go into Oxford County, they have those lights that flash to tell you to slow down. But I think the region will do that. We talked before about this. So I mean, that's the kind of thing I like to see coming into our village, into Clyde or anywhere, those sort of traffic calming measure that immediately tells you to slow down going to the village. But the region already ruled that out. If I'm not correct.
CEO McNally.
So, Madam Mayor, council may recall, and I apologize, I can't remember the month, but earlier this year, there was a resolution adopted by Township Council asking for traffic calming methods, including means of reducing the speed leaving the rural countryside and entering into settlement areas. And that would be, whether it's Clyde or Branston or Roseville or even Ayr, but leaving the countryside, the open road system, and entering into the built-up areas, and the means of at the entry, putting in infrastructure to reduce the speed of traffic. So staff has already initiated those discussions with regional staff as to what that would look like, including the background documents generated through the County of Oxford. In calendar years 21-22, Oxford County undertook significant amount of literature work as well as a strategy to look at how to modulate speed entering settlement areas from the rural countryside. And it's a combination of a whole bunch of different approaches because there's not one answer. And you've seen some of that rolling out in Councilor Roman. We just touched upon a couple of the pieces. But if you were driving into, Interkit or Drumbo as an examples, they have the activated pedestrian crosswalks. It's another part of that means of highlighting how people can safely walk, cycle, blade in the settlement areas, promoting active transportation or that healthy lifestyle in terms of getting out and getting exercise. So we've shared some of the data that was undertaken by our colleagues in Oxford County. Similar kinds of roads. Our capacity is probably higher in terms of trips generated in Waterloo region, but they serve the same design purpose. It's regional higher order roads that are designed to move larger volumes of traffic generally at higher speeds. And they do interconnect or bisect settlement areas and how to transition that speed going from the rural countryside into the settlement. So we've tried to share that information with our colleagues at the region to look at a more holistic and how it links back to the policy objectives of the regional official plan.
And the result has been.
The discussions continue. We have not had significant movement. However, in fairness, we've also had a changing role of senior people in the transportation portfolio at the region. And you met Acting Commissioner Doug Spooner the other day. There were some key tenets in his presentation related to automated speed enforcement. He was using the principles of high rate of speed, injuries, the likelihood of significant injury and or death attributed to different speed cohorts, and the need to develop strategies, ASC being one, to better create a safe environment for our pedestrians and cyclists and bladers. So, we're using some of that information with a more progressive commissioner in the role of Doug Spooner. We have a receptive audience. I'm not saying it's moved the needle yet, but there is more engaged discussion through Mr. Spooner's office.
So if I can relate a story, it was, about 8:30, 9 o'clock, I got a phone call from a police officer saying he wanted to meet me here at the NDCC, and I said, I'll be there in 15 minutes. So I met with him and he said, I just spent last half hour down at Broome Street and Northumberland. And I saw probably 15 near misses and children being hit. I saw cars racing past the area where the children are walking, and this is a real hazard. My first thing was to get a hold of the chief of police and say that thank you for the officer's attentiveness. I contacted CAO McNeely and I also contacted the region. The region's response was, there's not enough traffic to warrant or anything else, and it's not deemed unsafe. Councilor Austin.
And, Mr. Spooner sent that email, I thought was one of the more positive emails that I've seen from the region. And I'm personally getting a little fed up with the region coming over top of our heads and telling us what's good for our communities when we're the ones that live here. We're the ones that watch the children almost get hit. We're the ones that, hiding out across the street downtown and people don't see us and then they slam on their brakes halfway into a turn. It's just, there's not enough awareness, there's not enough clarity, there's not enough lighting. I don't know what it is, but there's not enough and it needs to be done. They can't just come and pave our roads and walk away and say, yeah, we're not gonna do anything. They need to support what our council wants them to support.
Or we take back all regional roads in our settlement areas, which we have sort of pre-asked the region in regards to give them back to our township, and we'll do crosswalks and we'll do safety as we see appropriate. Councilor Austin.
Well, the thing is, we're not doing this simply to complain or simply because we want something for our tax money. We want something for our residents because they're fed up paying taxes increasing and nothing being done. That's not the reason. We're doing this for the safety of the children, for the safety of the adults, for the safety of bikers, for pets, everything. Like, people need to slow down and they're not getting the message of slowing down. One of my emails, I used the example of Biker Street. Certain people might curse that there's stop signs on Biker Street, but you know what? The traffic has slowed down. And the traffic with all those kids crossing in front of my house at the ACC with the three-way stop there now, everybody's looking. And that's what we need. We need everybody to be attentive because, like I said, if one child gets hit, that's one too many. And then I hope that if the region fights us on this constantly, that we hold them responsible if somebody gets injured.
I'm not sure they'll fight us. I think they may ignore us, but also this says that council endorsed the following recommendation arising from October 7, 2024 Leisure Study Committee. It sort of says that the committee recommends that township council petition the region. How do you want us to petition the region? Is this to go to the regional council? Is this what, if it's just another motion? The region probably gets 400 to 500 a week and it sits in a pile and nobody opens the pile. So that's what when I sat on the GRAP committee, I said, your documents never come to us. I mean, we don't ever really see what you're sending us unless you come and delegate. CO McNeely and then Councilor Austin.
Madam Mayor, maybe I can assist. Leisure and Lifestyle Advisory Committee is looking at ways to promote active transportation, but they're also trying to make sure that infrastructure necessary to support healthy lifestyle, like cycling or walking, are in place. You now have a citizenry committee saying, we are active users. We want to grow that pool of active users. This is a significant constraint because the appropriate safety measures are not being consistently deployed on regional roads. And it's holding back the ability to grow this as a strategy going forward. This needs the attention of the region, so they're complementary to what you've been historically engaged. But it becomes part of a constant narrative. It's just not council saying, we need X, Y, or Z. You now have a citizen focus group that looks at lifestyle, in this case, active transportation, and is saying it's a serious impediment. And I think it just echoes and reinforces some of the earlier statements that this council has adopted over the years, whether it be reducing speed on certain regional roads or looking at traffic modulation. We have another report that council's asked us to prepare on alternative delivery models for the automated speed enforcement. It's just creating a continuum of a constant theme that from a multiple range of sources, there's a problem with speed and specifically on these regional roads.
So CEO McNally, what I'm saying is that I will address this at regional council. That's the only way that they're gonna hear it. So that it's not just a paper document being shuffled around it by the clerks. So I will address this. But the first comment they're gonna say is, well, automatic speed enforcement will take care of it. My response will be, it will not take care of people crossing the road. It will not take care of people not paying attention.
So Madam Mayor, if I could interject. We all heard the presentation and the screening criterion that Mr. Spooner has identified as a means of assessing future locations for ASC cameras through the regional program. You will not see ASC rolled out in the community of Wrigley. You will not see it rolled out on Clyde Road, on Old Beverly or the like, because it doesn't meet the criterion that they are using to identify future locations for community safety zones and the implementation of the ASC program.
So that would be my response then.
Based on the presentation that we heard the other day. The ASC initiative is one tool in a broader range of mechanisms that are available to create a safe environment in which pedestrians, cyclists, and bladers can use the road infrastructure system, whether it be for active transportation or just leisure. And the ASC unto itself is not the full answer. You cannot practically put a camera on every linear meter, but there are areas where it can be effective as an enforcement tool that can work in combination with other traffic calming measures.
Okay, that's called a motion. Oh, Councilwoman.
My question is, maybe this is through the CEO, through the CEO. I'm just curious how this motion is within the purview of this committee, because I'm looking at their terms of reference. And I don't see in their terms of reference where it says that they're going to be telling council to lobby or petition another level of government. It says here that they're supposed to be providing us with strategic advice and recommendations to facilitate, promote inclusive recreation, leisure, and cultural programs. So I don't see how this motion fits into that. So I just understand what the context of this motion is and how this motion has anything to do with the mandate of this.
Any CEO McNally.
So I do believe it's within their mandate to make a recommendation to council. Council has the ability to decide whether or not to champion out the region. They are saying, as users of certain leisure pursuits, walking, cycling, blading, there is a safety concern associated with the regional infrastructure system. And there's a need, we're going to elevate this to have the appropriate infrastructure in place to promote active transportation and similar pursuits. That's all they're asking of you. And realistically, while the wording is a little bit different, they're echoing your earlier statements that have been in various iterative versions of resolutions that have been adopted during this term of council. It's just a different voice. They're basically saying the same thing, but they're looking at it from the lens of the active transportation, which is part of leisure and lifestyle.
Councilor Larson.
And just to echo that statement from CO McNeely. Like, your advisory committees, as you know, with every advisory committee, is to bring forth, recommendations to council. And, you know, like trails, road, leisure activities, heritage, whatever it is. It's up to council to decide whether they want to support it or not. But the bottom line is that when the committee comes up with something like this, as active users, as you know, McNeely said, these are the people that know from experience that there's a problem in the community with certain things, and they're asking for it to be looked at. Yeah, I'm afraid if we sweep that under the rug and say, well, you know, that's not the mandate of the advisory committee. Somebody gets hurt, it comes right back to council.
Not necessarily. I don't think that's taking a giant leap, Council Bennett, not. Even if we pass this and someone gets hurt, still cannot come that dead. So I think that's a giant leap. Council Rowland.
Madam Mayor, so I'm just confused because I've always been told that there's different tiers of government, we're the lower tier or the local area municipality. And we have our committees that advise us on township issue, on township roads. I'm looking at the Regional Waterloo website, they have their own active transportation advisory committee. Wouldn't it make more sense then if our committee feels strongly about this, that they would appear at the regions committee and talk to the region? I don't just understand. I think we're blurring the lines here between what we're responsible for, what the region is responsible for. So I'm just concerned that this is not necessarily a township issue, this is more of a regional issue that should go to the appropriate regional committee.
Council Austin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The way I understand it is this committee reports to council. And if council supports what the advisory committee recommends, it's brought to council through yourself. Sorry, it's brought to regional council through yourself.
I'm just gonna say at this point, let's call a motion. Yeah, do you want to read it again, please? One last time, and then call for it.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Tilley, that council endorse the following recommendation arising from the October 2nd, 2024 Leisure and Lifestyle Advisory Committee as presented. That the committee recommends that the township council petition the regional council to improve public safety using active transportation on regional roads in settlement areas via crossing and other similar safety measures and including traffic calming items.
All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Councilor Austin, the bylaws, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Tilley, that the following bylaws be read a first and second time. 17.1, bylaw number 3513-24, a bylaw to establish temporary road closure for a portion of Piper Street, Church Street, Stanley Street to facilitate the annual outdoor Remembrance Day service. 17.2, bylaw number 3514-24, a bylaw to provide temporary closure for a portion of English Street and temporary no parking restrictions for Willison, Calhoun, Elliott, Thompson, Cooper, and Newell Streets to accommodate the CPKC holiday training event. 17.3, bylaw number 3515-24, a bylaw to amend bylaw 2559-13, being a bylaw to regulate traffic and parking. And 17.4, bylaw number 3516-24, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council on October 21st, 2024.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Council Williams, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Holman, the bylaws number 3513-24, 3514-24, 3515-24, and 3516-24 be read in third and final time and be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And now, Councillor Tilly, the adjournment, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Osmer, that whereas business before the council meeting has been completed at 7 p.m. and be it resolved that the meeting is adjourned.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you.